Hello, everybody. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Tim Pandajis. Thanks for joining us on this webcast in the very wee morning hours of Tuesday. We've got a brand new update to let you know about. An ongoing large hail, damaging wind, and isolated tornado threat looks to stretch through the overnight. So Storm Prediction Center has expanded and actually issued a brand new tornado watch that this time around goes all the way to the coast and extends across the majority of the KHOU 11 viewing area, and this extends through the morning commute to 8 a.m. So that tornado threat ongoing through the rest of the night. I want to show you radar because when we last talked, radar was a lot quieter. Now it's starting to get a little more active, especially well to the west. We've been watching some showers and downpours that have now acquired some lightning. They've strengthened a little bit out by Brenham, Columbus, just to the west of Katy and north of El Campo. These have been persisting over this area and dropping a good amount of rainfall, but that's really nothing compared with what's going on to the west. You see this line here that's right along the I-35 corridor, pushing through the Austin area down to San Antonio. And over the last few hours, check this out as we play it out. It went from a very narrow line starting to expand from east to west and filling in the gaps north to south as well. These orange polygons are severe thunderstorm warnings, so likely packing winds of 60 miles an hour. And there has been reports of 3/4 inch to an inch in diameter hail size in some of these as well. In fact, we can look at that in terms of hail potential and any hail cores that may be evident on radar. Not seeing any at this particular moment, unfortunately, to show you, but there was some instances, at least in past history, with this line of producing some hail. The reflectivity, though, showing the very heavy rainfall, the bright yellows, reds, and they're moving over the same area. If I put it in motion again, over the last 3 hours, you can see this hasn't really moved very far to the east. So this is dropping copious amounts of rainfall along into the east of the I-35 corridor. Now, eventually, this will progress farther east. This is the cold front here that's starting to push on into a very favorable environment to produce tornadoes, which is why that tornado watch has been expanded and extended in time all the way through 8 a.m., but also the large hail and damaging wind threat thrown in the mix there as well, on top of the flash flooding threat with these heavy rain squalls. Now, the mesoscale discussion that came out that prompted the tornado watch is this right here. I just plotted this earlier to show you if they didn't have the watch out just yet, but that's for the large hail and wind threat ongoing overnight. So the threats we're still looking at through 8 a.m. is going to be the strong winds. In some of these storms, 60+ mile-an-hour wind gusts. A hail size, 1 inch or greater in diameter, so that gets close to golf ball size. Flooding, flash flooding in particular here. We've been very dry for the last couple of weeks. That works in our favor in this scenario. Sure, we can use the rain, but not all at once. But the ground can absorb a good amount of rainfall initially. But when you get 2-3 inch an hour rainfall rates, that quickly overwhelms the drainage basins. And we're really concerned with the street flooding and the timing of that street flooding being right in line with that morning commute on your Tuesday. So pay attention, stay close to the forecast as we go through the early morning hours. We'll be on with you. Kim and Cheetah are here, and they're going to be on at 4 a.m. on the television side of things to break down the latest threats. Tornado threat 2, I've downed it a little bit, but still with that tornado watch, there could be some isolated strong thunderstorms and strong tornadoes that come on through. I want to show you the big picture here because this line, as you see it play out over the last several hours, last 6 hours, it's really starting to fill on in. And it's this area down here to the south and southeast of San Antonio that's flaring on up, that show the signatures that we saw earlier of discrete supercells. Now that we're in the overnight, a lot of these have kind of fallen apart, but this whole line is progressing into a very favorable environment. Now, what do I mean when I say a favorable environment? Well, we've got the very warm temperatures still. It's 1 in the morning, and air temperatures haven't really dropped very much from our highs today. We're in the mid-70s. We've got a push of warm, moist, humid air off the Gulf of Mexico. Dew points only a degree or two behind the air temperature. So dew point depression, the difference between those two numbers is small. Air is almost saturated out there. You could feel it. It feels very soupy, and that is fuel for thunderstorms. All we need is something to lift all of that warm, humid air, condense it into clouds and thunderstorms, and you have a big outbreak, and that's what we have with the cold front coming on through in the next couple of hours. And on top of that, winds, they aren't as strong as they were earlier. We had 40-45 mile-an-hour wind gusts. Now they're still around 30 miles an hour, but all of that's just adding turbulence to the atmosphere overall. Let's get back to the live radar across our area because we are starting to see things flare up. In fact, here's another cell to the north here, north of 290, Magnolia area, Montgomery. a lot of heavy rain here, and there are some flashes of lightning in this as well. So it's starting to become a stronger thunderstorm. We've seen these kind of progress from just downpours, and they've intensified enough that they have now started to produce lightning and thunder. And then off to the west, they're much more significant. They've prompted warnings here. I want to take a sampling of some of these lightning tallies because this has been an impressive feature of a lot of the storms that have developed so far. Just off this line in this box, this is a 10-minute tally of lightning strikes, so 335. Now, positive strikes are about 10 times stronger than negative, and when you see a larger ratio between negative and positive, that means the storm is stronger and it is intensifying. So we are seeing that. There are certainly more positive strikes than negative, but overall a very impressive amount of lightning strikes in that area in just 10 minutes, and this has been ongoing for several hours now as this has been getting going and developing and pushing on off to the east very slowly. Let's put it back in motion now to show you what things have looked like over the past 2 hours in terms of this line. It's really kind of developed and blossomed as it's pushing into that very favorable air mass. You know, a lot of the parameters that we look at to gauge a severe threat, like a significant tornado or significant supercell composites, have been trending to even more favorable setups over our area for these storms to develop. On top of that, David and I and the whole weather team has been talking about the favorable jet stream dynamics aloft. So about 34,000 feet up, we've been seeing a signal that the jet will be splitting. And when that happens, we get something called divergence or diffluence aloft. And that means there's a void that's that high up in altitude. Rapidly rising air is moving quickly to replace that void, and you get rapid rising motion that helps to initiate ongoing long-lived supercell thunderstorms, and also is going to be a main player, I think, in our flash flooding threat as we go through the next several hours, and we see this line push closer into southeast Texas and through much of the KHOU 11 viewing area. I'm going to end things now with just a summary of the brand new update we brought you at the top of this webcast. The tornado watch, we've had several today so far encompassing different portions of the area. This one blanketing the entire area of southeast Texas until 8 a.m. for favorable conditions for not only a large hail event, damaging winds, but isolated tornadoes that could be damaging certainly during that time frame. So stay close to the forecast. Make sure you have the KHOU 11 app with alerts turned on, so if a warning is issued that encompasses your area with GPS and cell phones, we can see that and we'll give you a warning and wake you up to get to your safe place. But if there's any other updates, if there's any warnings that make it into our area, we'll join you on the TV side and on the website through the rest of the overnight.